Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to your weekly tarot reads with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. So for those of you that are long time subbies, that are my ride or dies, my Radiant Nation, you know I used to do these. I did these for a very long time and then stopped to have a break and a hiatus, and many people were very upset by that fact. You know, if anything, it was very endearing for me to know that I was so missed and that I helped so many of you get your housework done. Not sure how I feel about that, but you know, anyway, so this is just a little reintroduction. So if you are, that's for those of you that already know who I am. For those of you that are new subbies, for those of you that are new to the channel, I am Raphael. I am a tarot reader who uses astrology, numerology, and energy work. That is kind of like my whole sort of mix of tricks, tips, tools of my trade, let's say. You know, I like to think that I've developed a pretty natural and unique style of the way that I do things. So I will, for the time being anyway, be offering you weekly readings again, along with a whole bunch of other amazing goodies that I have to come. For those of you that are already a part of the Radiant Nation, you know I love you for it. Thank you for your time and your patience, and thank you for allowing me to take a break from doing something that I love but had been doing for a very long time and needed a little bit of a break from. So with that said, now that you know who I am and what I do, you can get a personal reading from me. You'll always be able to find all of that stuff in the description. With that said, stay tuned and we will get into your personal reading. Hi Pisces, welcome to your week ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. Remember, they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody. That is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. If you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose, and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So I'm going to give these a good shuffle. Let's see, what is your key to the week over the course of the week ahead? It is. Ooh. Okay. The Magician. All right, so you got the power. This week, my dear Pisceans, you do have the power. But with great power doth come great responsibility. And the responsibility that you have this week is to speak up, to be honest and open in your communication. This is where basically, if you have something to say, if there's something you've been holding on to or something that you've been holding in the depths of who you are, this is your moment to speak. And I have to say, the Magician is telling me as well, you have an opportunity right now to speak on something. All right, and if you do, now is your moment, right? And I gotta say, so this week you have a window of opportunity to speak on something, whether this is to request something, to open up a dialogue, to speak on something interesting, because Mercury is newly direct this week as well. So I'm very intrigued by this fact. And what I will say to you is, if you miss this opportunity, this very often, and this is like when it comes to your what's the word that I'm looking for, when it comes to opportunities for your lifescape, they'll always come back around in another way. It's never like, oh well, you missed it and that's it, done. However, when other people are involved in something, at that point, that's where opportunities do pass and they may not come round again. If this involves having a conversation with a person, something that you need to say, something that you need to open up as a dialogue or whatever, this week is your opportunity. If you miss it, you won't get another one. I'm really sorry to say that, all right? And you know me, I'm not one of those defeatist sort of people that's like, oh, well, you know, that's it, you've missed your opportunity now. But this is because the reason I say this is it feels like there's somebody else involved in whatever it is that you're needing to talk about. And so therefore the opportunity is being presented to you this week. You have to take it now, all right? Now, outside of that, the Magician card is telling you that in all of these different sectors of your life, you have everything that you need to make stuff happen. use it or lose it. In terms of your actions and options, you have the Page of Pentacles. So for those of you, well, for all of you, the Page of Pentacles is usually where we're gathering new knowledge, new information, where we are starting to really learn something at a greater or a deeper level. Now, what I will say to you is, because the Page of Pentacles also represents side hustles, things that you do in a small way, it can even be a hobby. If you have a hobby that is based around writing or speaking or public speaking, this week you have a chance to really accelerate or to advance everything that you're doing. So I love this for you. This is where you put pedal to the metal. You've got a good opportunity here in terms of the options that are available to you. If there is an opportunity to study something new this week, take it. Even if you don't feel like it's relevant to you at this moment in time, it will reveal itself to be later. Okay, so for your communications and conversations, you have the Page of, you've got the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands is about passion and vibrancy and vigor. Your communications this week are going to take on, they're going to be very passionate, all right? It looks like you have a lot to say this week. The power is with you for anything that you do want to say. It also looks like a lot of the conversations that you're having this week potentially get, it doesn't mean that they get heated and over, you know, out of control and there's fights and arguments, but there could be some really sort of interesting and astute debates that come up this week. You might be really challenged on some of your ideas and your beliefs. And it's up to you to stand your fucking ground, right? You have the Magician as your key to the week. So whatever comes up this week, this is a time for you to show some backbone, all right? You got to show up for yourself this week, my dear Pisces. Now, that being said, for when it comes to those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, this is where you start to love it. This is where you start to really, really love what you're doing, where you start to really take on board those new bits of information and you start to put them into practice. This is where you start to make it look like finesse, baby. Like finesse, yeah? All right, finesse, yes. All right, for those of you that are employed by somebody else, this is career advancement. This is career advancement providing you are willing to speak up. Now, interestingly enough, very often people think that the thing that gets them promoted is towing the line. There comes a point where the thing that's going to get you promoted or noticed is actually digging your heels in and saying, hey, listen, this is a step too far. Why? Because they need to know if they put you in a position of power or leadership, you're not going to get walked over by your colleagues, by your employees, etc., or the people that work underneath you or with you or alongside you, right? This week, you've got to show some guts. You've got to show some, or as one of my favorite mentors, she has my heart, tells me all the time, show some teeth. Show some fucking teeth. All right, okay. For those of you that are self-employed business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, that Knight of Wands is about you really going for it. A lot of you are getting back to work this week in some way, shape or form. This is where you're getting really stuck back into it, right? Like this is where you're really saying, yeah, it's go time once more. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, this is you picking up a hobby, a skill, something that you love to do, something that you really are. Sorry, I forgot to mention as well, for those of you that are self-employed, this is the start of a new project. There's something here that you've been very passionate about that you haven't really been able to put a lot of time into, but now you do. For those of you that are retired, you are picking up a hobby, something, and potentially for some of you, this is something that you've maybe wanted to do, maybe you didn't have the time or the money, maybe, you know, someone told you it was stupid, and so you were like, oh, okay, no, I'm probably not going to do that again. This is you throwing that caution to the wind and saying, no, I want to do this, so I'm going to do it. Get stuck in. For your love and relations, you've got the Eight of Swords. So for those of you that are single and looking, this is potentially a situation that sees you somewhat held back or subdued. And this looks like something that you have to sort out in your own feelings. if there is a conversation that you need to have, that conversation is what's going to provide the freedom that you need in order to move forward. And it's only when you do start sort of speaking up and saying, actually, this is how I feel about this, this, and this, that things are really going to shift for you. So you have to, for a lot of you Pisces, if you're single, this week is really about you figuring out just what the hell you want. All right. And sometimes to know what you do want, you have to know what you don't. All right. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, or seeing somebody, etc., I love it. I mean, the Eight of Swords suggests that you are in this connection with this person for the long haul. And it also suggests that they are as well. Because you've got the Eight of Wands, I am going to say there are potentially some passionate conversations that are had this week, but it brings clarity and it opens up the dialogue that you need in order to make a path to move forward. So I'm totally here for that. I will say potentially for some of you as well, the partner's work this week may ramp up. Maybe they get really busy, maybe they're not as available. And maybe that's one of the reasons, you know, you're like, look, I'm trying to talk to you and, you know, you're elsewhere. And they're like, well, listen, you know, this is just as important to me as your stuff is to you. So, you know, give it a rest. Wait, listen, I'm a brat, right? I'll be the first person to tell you, like, I'm a good communicator. I listen when but I definitely, I'm one of those people, like, I need a strong partner, because I'm a very strong character. And sometimes I'm a brat. So I need somebody that will say, okay, you know what? You've had your minute, enough. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I'll shut up. Not for long, but, you know, for now. So for your money and materials, you've got the Justice card. For a lot of you, this could potentially show up as new contracts, new work, new financial agreements being drawn up. Love that. Now, because you've got it opposite the Eight of Swords, I will say to you, whatever contracts are inked this week, double check the fine print, because Mercury, although it's direct, it's still in, it will be in post retrograde shadow. So just make sure you're really checking the details. It is direct, so you're good to sign a new contract. And also make sure that it's a contract that speaks to things that you want long term, because it's opposite the Eight of Swords. So whatever you're signing, that's going to be a long-term commitment. It will hold you to it, right? Whatever you agree to this week, you will be held to for some time to come. So you just want to make sure it's for you. For some of you, if you have people that have been in prison, this week they could actually be released. And that's really wonderful. And, you know, a lot of people are like, ooh, you know, and taboo and all the rest of it. And I always say, like, listen, if someone's done their time, you leave them be, right? If they've come out and they've done the best to turn their lives around, we need to normalize this as a society, okay? Once somebody's paid their dues or paid their debts or whatever it is, let them live. I'm all about rehabilitation and allowing people to flourish and to grow, and not holding them to ransom to who they used to be or what they've experienced or whatever, you know? We don't expect victims to live in the past of who they were. So why are we expecting people that have, you know, been incarcerated or whatever? Why do we expect them to live by the, you know, well, you made this mistake, so that's it. No, I'm not here for that. For your physical health and vitality, the Justice card is Libra ruled, so that's the kidneys. Remember, I'm not a doctor. I can't give you medical advice. I will say it does look like a lot of you are potentially enjoying life a lot this week. So, you know, just make sure that you're also getting some water in there as well, so that you're looking after the kidneys. And also, when it comes to your home and environment, for some of you, this is the renewal of a home contract. For others, this is potentially you looking at the options that are available to you around housing. So that's really, really nice and really interesting as well. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.